Welcome back to the Dynasty Arsenal podcast. This is episode number 11. Lucky number 11, maybe, for some people. And I'm Sammy Tags, joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Tags. And Tags, as everybody knows, you are a Patriots fan. And our favorite Patriots running back, he's finally done something.
He did it. And I cannot wait to go back to, as soon as Ramondre's back, watch him go back to like 5 carries a game.
Honestly, it's very interesting because all it took for him to break out was a Terrell Jennings injury. We should have known this all along.
We all predicted it.
And this is the thing. He looked really, really good. And I honestly agree with you. I am so terrified that it's just going to go right back to...
Gosh, it's like he gives our offense the explosive element we've been needing for like years now. For like 4+ years, we need an explosive weapon. We have one, and then we just don't use them. Every time he touches the ball, there's a chance it goes for a 60, 70-yard touchdown. He just adds that element to the game where the defenders need to game plan around him, or else he's just going to bust some long ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just every play that he breaks off. Obviously, he has the 2 really long touchdowns. But there are so many other plays, too, where I'm just like, Ramondre can't do that. He just can't. It's so clear and it's so obvious. And anybody who has watched Ramondre, if they watch the... Funnily enough, the fantasy footballers, a lot of them, they'll post on Twitter every snap or every carry for Travion in the past game. Like, I watched that 2.5-minute clip, and it's just like Ramondre would get 20% of these yards. And we just know he's going to come back, and Vrabel trusts him, and it's going to... Hopefully, Travion's at least the lead at some point with Ramondre in at some point the rest of the season. But
I don't even need him to be the lead, but have a game plan for him.
Yeah.
Get him at least like 45% touches. Like, ideally, you want him to have the Tony Pollard when the Cowboys had Ezekiel Elliott at least kind of workload for him.
Yeah.
Get him at least 10 to 15 guaranteed touches where you can get him out in space and be creative with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then maybe like Tony Pollard, he'll end up on the Titans. That'd be fun. So on today's show, we're going to do something a little different, a little fun. We are going to do the first 2 rounds of a Dynasty startup. And so we each have compiled a top 24 that we're going to draft from. I have some honorable mentions as well who won't be drafted today unless Tags takes them. But yeah, we thought that this would be a fun exercise because we've talked a lot about how dynasty values just change so much during the season. And it's hard to sort of get around how you're valuing these guys as rookies are exploding and injuries are happening and all this kind of stuff, right? And so... we thought this would be a good point, middle of the season here, heading towards the fantasy playoffs, that we sort of do a check-in on the top 24.
Good little vibe check.
Good little vibe check on the top 24 Dynasty cornerstone assets heading into the fantasy football playoffs here.
And honestly, I thought it was a fun thing because, like, going from the start of this season to now, there's so much change in value. Like, I was pretty shocked with how many... giant value risers there were going into the top 24 players, and then some players that were dropping out of the 24. So it was a fun kind of realigning where your values are mid-season on a lot of these players.
And I'm interested to hear what Tags has to say about this as well. But the way I sort of did this is I'm looking at what points they're going to score the rest of the season. But also, given that I want this to sort of just be pure value top 24. And so I'm thinking, where are these guys going to be valued the minute week 17 ends?
Yeah. These players in the top 24, you cannot miss on your top 24 picks.
This is true.
If you do, it sets your team back for years if you miss on these cornerstone picks in a startup draft.
One of my favorite things to do is to go back and look at what players were in there and just completely bombed out. My personal favorite, 2023, Justin Fields getting picked at the 1-2 turn. That just
And
sunk.
we love Justin Fields.
We do love Justin Fields, but that just absolutely sunk everybody who took him there.
Same with Stroud.
Stroud in the top 3
after his rookie year,
dude.
He was going 102, 103 in drafts.
It was literally,
and now he's like third or fourth round.
I bet he doesn't get drafted today. And
spoiler alert, not on my list.
Yeah, but literally it was Allen, Lamar, and Stroud. That was yeah. So lots of crazy up and down things. Maybe we can talk about if any of these players have the potential to do that.
Yeah,
because it's definitely worth a conversation. Somebody like Bo Nix got a lot of steam coming out of last season and has fallen quite a bit. But yeah, we can talk about it. We're gonna flip a coin to see who goes first. If Tags still has his gorgeous Pikachu coin, amazing.
Pikachu coin, obviously. Heads or tails?
Is Tails the Pikachu?
Tails is the Pokeball.
Tails is the Pokeball. Okay, I'll call it.
Last time you went Pokeball and it was Pikachu.
All right, I'm going to stick with it. Pokeball.
All right, back to the Pokeball.
Give me the Pokeball.
It is Pokeball.
All right.
So you get the, do you want to take the 101 or do you want to punt on it?
I think I'm getting my guy no matter what. So I am going to take the 102. I am going to let you go first. You can take the 102, and then I will be ending it off with the 212 here.
These top picks were spicy this year. My 101 is so close between 3 different players for me. My 101 is going Josh Allen. Just lock it in, easy. About as safe as a pick as you can get. With these first round picks, I'm looking for a player who has the potential to finish as a number 1 overall player at their position group, and might as well take the guy who finishes there more often than not. So I'm taking Allen. He's still 29 years old. Should give me another 4+ years of QB1 production, and it's about as safe as you can get.
There's a few things about Josh Allen that make this a completely easy and understandable pick at 101. Like you said, he's 29 and a half, and at any other position you'd be worried about that. But this guy just doesn't miss games. He just does not miss games. He plays every game. He finishes in the top 3 like every season. It's as reliable as you can get. We don't really need to explain to everybody why Josh Allen is really good. At the 102, this one, so I was sort of consulting with the Keep Trade Cut top 24 as I was doing this. Because, before I continue, this is obviously super flex. I think we're going non-tight end premium. We can do a half point. We can talk about a half point.
Yeah, let's do a half point.
We'll do a half point. Maybe get some extra tight ends in there. But yeah, super flex, obviously. PPR. But yeah, this was the most shocking ranking on Keep Trade Cut that I saw, because this guy is still easily in my top 3, and it's Jaden Daniels. And I'm going to take him at the 102 here. Really, honestly, not too much to discuss for me. He's 25 years old. His injury is to his non-throwing arm, and he didn't break anything. Nothing was torn. He's not even going on IR.
Which is insane.
It's insane after watching it. Watching his elbow bend the complete wrong way.
Yeah, not supposed to look that way.
The fact that he's not going on IR is absolutely crazy. But he's going to be back this season, probably. Because if he's... I don't know. I mean, I guess they can keep ruling him out over and over again. But why would they... They already know the season's toast. I don't know why they wouldn't put him on IR if they don't want him to come back. Yeah. So I have no concerns long term. He was obviously getting taken in this top 3 this past summer. He was good when he was playing this year. He still has the incredibly high rushing floor, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I don't see any reason why he should fall as far as he has on Keep Trade Cut. It's actually insane where he's being ranked. It is wild. He's the 16th.
People are acting like his career is over, and they haven't even put him on IR.
He is the 16th overall player on Keep Trade
Wild.
Cut. Absolutely insane. Go buy Jaden Daniels if anybody else, if your leagues are valuing him like that.
Yeah, finished QB5 as a rookie, put up 900 yards rushing. Obviously,
Oh my God.
that rushing production is really special.
Yeah.
He's like guaranteed to be a QB1. Has the QB1 overall potential we're looking for. Should be fine with the injury. I love it. He was one of my 3 that was vying for the top 3
I
picks.
mean, he's taking Lamar in 2019. Like, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, but I like Daniels better as a passer than Lamar. He's quicker at reading defenses.
I will hear
he has
the
a better
argument.
long ball.
Look
So
at the team
mixing-
he took. Look at the team he took to the NFC Championship game last year. Dude, they suck.
Depleted.
They are terrible, and this is the thing. You don't need this team is obviously not going to be as good as the Bills. It's not going to be as good as the Ravens for the next few years. They're really old and they're bad on both sides of the ball, really. So
Give this man some weapons. But also they need to fix their defense. So
but at the same time, the rushing floor allows him to get to a point where he's going to finish top 5 even if the Commanders suck.
regardless, yeah,
Exactly. So who do you want
He
to
could have Jalen Lane out there as his wide receiver 1, and he'll be fine. 102 is a player who has skyrocketed up draft boards, is starting to pick up some meme value, which we love on this show.
Yes, he is. He really
And
is.
the 102 pick is Drake May.
I love it. That's a shout out to the NFL Stock Exchange podcast for anybody
But
wondering.
did you see the Boston Celtics posted that?
I did see that too. It's hilarious.
It's gaining steam.
You love to see it.
Dude, he's so good.
Yeah.
I'm biased as a Patriots fan. But he's 23 years old, 26 points per game this year, hyper efficient with his volume. He already almost has 300 yards rushing on the year. So I feel like he has a floor of 400 to 500 rushing yards every year. And that's exactly the formula we need to create a quarterback 1 overall. They need to be able to post at least 4,000 yards passing, and they need to have at least 250, 300 yards rushing. There statistically hasn't been a quarterback that's posted QB1 overall numbers without hitting those thresholds. And May is a perfect formula to hit that. So at 103, I'm taking Drake May, because he has QB1 overall potential. He's super young and a high flying offense with making Stephon Diggs look like a newly born receiver. And Kyle Williams is picking up. Travion Henderson's picking up. It's just wheels up from now.
Drake May he's 23 years old, 23.2 if you want to be specific. He is just so incredibly young. And like you said, I mean, right now he is the quarterback 1 in fantasy points on the year, mainly because Mahomes had his bye and May hasn't yet. But he's averaging almost 30 rushing yards a game. He's carrying the ball 6.5 times. He's passing for 2 touchdowns a game. Like you said, he has the absolute ceiling to be the quarterback 1 any given year. And we play in 3-year windows, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that looking at the next 10 years of Drake May isn't appealing.
It definitely doesn't hurt thinking you have a QB1 locked in for 10 plus years.
It does not hurt at all.
It's unrealistic to have that expectation, but like it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. At the 104, another one that's pretty easy for me. I think there is a tier of 4 players at the top here, maybe 5. But I'm going to take the next one, and it's Lamar Jackson.
Yep, that's my top 4.
I think this is pretty easy. We talked about him with Jaden Daniels. I mean, although he is 28.8, so he's going to be 29 soon, I still think that he does a good enough job of protecting himself. And I don't think people have talked about his running style won't age incredibly well. I'm not that worried about it in a 3 to 5 year window.
Same.
I think he will continue to run. And also, he showed last year that he doesn't even need the rushing to be absolutely insane. Like his first
41
game
touchdowns.
back
This year, yeah. His first came back this year, put up 280 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
not too worried about it.
Last year, 41 touchdowns with all the rushing. Lamar is easily still a top 5 pick in startups this offseason.
Yeah, love it. My 105 is a guy we've talked about on the podcast and gives you the positional advantage you're looking for. It is Bijan Robinson.
Wow, yeah.
23 years old. He's putting up 21 points per game currently. Has seen increased receiving game usage this year, which I think gives him even higher of a ceiling than he's had last year. He already has 500 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns, has 1,000 yards rushing already. Alvin Kamara is considered the GOAT of fantasy football running backs. A guy being able to post running back 4 overall or better numbers for like 6 years in a row.
In terms of longevity, at least 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Bijan can rival that. He has a skill set to be able to play into his 30, 31, 32 window. And he's just so good. He's used all over the place, using receiving game. We've already seen games this year where he's busted out for 200 plus total yards, 8 plus receptions. He just like, no matter what game script the Falcons are in, it's perfect for Bijan. So he's my 105 because I'm taking the positional advantage of having the RB1 overall. And if I am at that spot and those 4 quarterbacks are gone, I like pivoting to those other positions.
Yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense. One thing I'm curious about is how do you feel? What is your reaction to the recent intense use or stubborn use of Tyler Algier around the goal line?
This past game was weird.
But
it's like
Bijan,
fourth quarter and they're using Algier. I'm not too worried because Bijan still gets his. Even without the touchdowns, he still has potential to finish as RB1 overall.
Yeah, absolutely. In the past 4 games, Bijan has no rushing touchdowns, and Tyler Algier has 3. I hate it. It is nothing, and that has nothing to do with Bijan's talent. It doesn't make any sense why you have this. Isn't like Devon Achane or some undersized small running back who you don't want him to take these tough carries where they know he's getting the ball, he's going to get hit. This is Bijan Robinson is 220 pounds. I don't understand for the life of me why they don't just have him in there all the time. Like he plays 86% of the snaps, and then Algier scores 2 touchdowns. I think
it's honestly more a testament to Algier than it is Bijan, because I think if Algier wasn't as good as he is, then Bijan does get that 80% usage.
Yeah, and this is Algier's final year of his rookie deal, right? So he probably, hopefully, we talked about him very briefly in the free agency episode, I think. Hopefully he moves on, and they bring in a worse backup, and Bijan gets all of those goal line touches. But you're absolutely right. He's still going to be a top 5 running back regardless of that, which just shows the true ceiling if he does end up having a season like Jonathan Taylor's having right now where he scores 23 touchdowns.
What do you got for the 106?
At 106, I'm also going to go away from the quarterbacks to the positions. This will shock nobody. I'm going to take Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is 25.7, and he has shown us, I think, year after year that maybe he's not the best receiver in the league, but he has got to be the most elite target earner that we have seen in a very long time. I mean, last year, his wide receiver 1 finish, 175 targets, 1,700 yards, and 17 touchdowns. And this defense does not look like it's getting better anytime soon. Joe Burrow looks like he's coming back this year, which is absolutely crazy. Well, not even this year, soon. He's been activated off IR. His 21-day window is open. He could be back as early as the Thanksgiving game against the Ravens or the week after against Buffalo.
Which is pretty wild.
Pretty wild. What I love about Jamar Chase is that although Burrow has had the injury issues, we're going to talk about a lot of wide receivers the rest of this show through the of the first round and the second round where their quarterback situations are not solidified. And we have no idea what that's going to look like over the next 3 to 5 years. Joe Burrow is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal, and Jamar Chase is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. And if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, this guy is going to be a top 5 wide receiver every season that they are there together.
Yeah, and even if Burrow's not in, if he gets injured again, Chase has shown that he can produce without him.
And honestly, I think Jake Browning is below average for backup quarterbacks. I do think it doesn't need to be a guy like Joe Flacco who has all this experience and can throw it around. Like, I think that there are a lot of guys, a lot of backups in this league that could do for Chase and Higgins what Flacco is. So I'm not nearly as worried as I was when it was Jake Browning.
And Chase made Jake Browning look really good last year.
Or it was 2 years ago, yeah, with Burrow, when Burrow had the wrist thing. Yeah, it was a lot better. Yeah. I don't know what happened this year, but thank God we have Flacco now.
Which is a weird thing to say in 2025.
You really wouldn't think it, but I mean, honestly.
What a year. My 107 is Brock Bowers.
Wow.
Because at these picks, I'm looking to get a guy who can finish top in his position and gives you a positional advantage. And he's 22 years old. He is a young buck. And he not only gives you the positional advantage of being the tight end 1 overall, he has wide receiver 1 overall potential that you can put in your tight end spot. His rookie season, he tied for wide receiver 2 overall numbers and tight end premium as a rookie. And that's an insane advantage to have in your tight end spot. And you're telling me I can have that advantage for 8+ years? Tight ends age like fine wine. There's look at Travis Kelce. He's 36 and still doing his thing. We see a lot of times tight ends will be productive into 34 years old. So having that advantage at in your tight end spot is just so huge for getting advantage over your other teams in points per game. And we've already seen his ceiling. 2 games ago, he put up 12 receptions, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns. That Bowers won everyone their week just from that performance. So he's my 107, and honestly, it was pretty easy for me because being able to have a guy who could post wide receiver 1 overall numbers, but having that in your flex spot is just huge.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think that this is purely a strategy and sort of pick your lane kind of selection here. I think a lot of other people, myself, I've noticed this happening with me where on teams where I have Bowers or McBride and I have a hole elsewhere on my roster, I don't have an elite wide receiver 2 or I don't have a good running back 2 that's giving me points. I feel like tight end is always the spot where I look to where I'm like, okay, let me just down tier from Bowers to Kill. I'll get similar production now and I can upgrade another spot. And I think that's why I devalue these tight ends a little bit. I'm not it's not insane. I would still take Bowers probably high in the second round. But
he's not a first rounder for you.
He's just outside.
That's interesting.
I honestly, and I texted you this when I was making the list that I was having such a hard time. I had the 4 quarterbacks and Jamar Chase in my top 5. And then from 6 to I had 10 names where I was I don't know who to put next.
5 through 9 was just the Wild West for me.
Yeah, for me it even goes further than that.
Random spattering of names.
For me it goes further than that, and I find it so hard to do with all the injuries and different guys breaking out and stuff. I think that this is a good time, or this is a good way for us to have the conversation, because there are certain names here that I don't feel confident about, and maybe you need to talk me off the ledge on some of these.
Or we'll both go hurtling off the ledge together.
Yeah, we could do that as well. But yeah. With Bowers, I think I prefer, and this is just a preference thing, I prefer the wide receivers and the running backs in this tier. But it's so close. I
just think I guess I'm kind of opposite of you, where I think running back and wide receiver production is easier to replace than having that elite tier tight end production that Bowers provides.
Yeah, it could.
I feel like it's Bowers and McBride at the top, and then there's a huge jump down to.
I think maybe it's that I'm more okay taking the loss at tight end versus because it's not as much of a loss versus the rest of the league because there's only like 3 elite guys. And so I have leagues where I have like Hunter Henry, K. Dotton. I had Darren Waller everywhere. We don't need to talk about that. But I have like five like tight end, back end tight end 1, early tight end 2s that I'm just rotating matchups every week. And I feel like I can get enough out of that on a contender where I'd rather have, for example, Jamar Chase and that tight end as opposed to, or well, Chase went ahead, but like whoever I take next and those tight ends as opposed to trying to play Darius Slayton in my wide receiver spot and starting JSN.
Yeah, I see it as like, would I rather have Bowers and Wan'Dale Robinson, or would I rather have Puka and K. Dotton, or Njoku, or Ferguson? And I'm just give me Bowers because Bowers is going to put up the same amount of points as Puka. But I think that it gives you a lot more flexibility allotting those points per game into your tight end spot and then freeing up a wide receiver spot for someone else.
It's completely
but it's interesting to see the different ways people build teams because startup drafts, if you're taking Bowers, you will not feel good about your wide receivers. And you just have to be okay with that. Like, you're not going to have 3 studs in at wide receivers. You're going to have to roll with a Wan'Dale Robinson or a Romeo Doubs or someone along that vein into your wide receiver 3 spot.
Mm-hmm. At the 108 here, I'm going to go back to the quarterbacks, and I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, who shouldn't really have lost any value to this point in the season. He is having a really good year. He's actually having his second best, through 8 games played, he's having his second best year in terms of points per game. Back in 2022, he was the quarterback 1 in points per game. Right now, he's the quarterback 2 in points per game at 23.2. He's not running the ball as much, but he's at a similar clip to what he was at in 2023. And I think that this will kind of just fluctuate a little bit with the rushing. It's not going to be super consistent every year. Obviously, with the tush push going away, which, I mean, after last night's game, if you guys watched that, there's no way this play stays. There's no shot. Nobody can start at the right time. It's the Packers, too. Like, the guards are just going half a second early. It's ridiculous. They can't officiate it.
Yeah.
So I don't see how it stays. But regardless of that, I think that probably just means more like normal quarterback sneaks on the goal line. I mean, the guy can squat 600 pounds. Why wouldn't you use him that way? But yeah, Jalen Hurts as a cornerstone quarterback for your team. He's 27 years old. He's built like to last better than like Lamar is. And if you're just looking at the body types. So I'm really happy with Jalen Hurts. I don't have him in very many spots, but I would be taking him here at the 108.
Yeah, I guess my concern is how his game progresses later into his career.
He's definitely the worst quarterback in this first round.
I don't think he's as good as a passer as Lamar, so I could see him struggling more. Not that the rushing game just totally falls off. Like, 30-year-olds can still run the ball.
Yeah.
But I also trust Howie to continue to build to Hurts' strength later in his career. So I don't know. I feel like he's a little bit more risky than Lamar is, but that's also why he's a little bit later in the draft. But he's a guaranteed quarterback 1 whenever he's healthy. So
yeah, at the absolute worst.
That's what you want as your 109 pick.
And in points per game, from 2021 when he broke out to now, the worst he's had in points per game is quarterback 6. So when he's starting, when he's playing for you, he will be giving you top end quarterback 1 numbers.
Love it.
109.
My 109, not 109, if I could talk, is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
He's just an RB1 every single season. Has the potential, has a skill set to be RB1 overall. 23 years old. gives you the same positional advantage as Bijan does. The only reason he's lower than Bijan is just the offense doesn't use him as much. They're not as creative with his usage. And he has David Montgomery there, and David Montgomery is a good running back.
More annoying than Tyler Algier, David Montgomery.
Absolutely. So I think that limits his usage, and that's the only reason he's lower than Bijan. But getting him a few spots lower kind of gives you the same advantage as Bijan does.
Yeah, he's having an incredible year, like he always does. He's averaging 20 points per game, involved in the receiving game as he always is. And honestly, he has the built-in upside. This offense is so good, right? Like this offense and the Falcons' offense aren't even playing the same sport. If Montgomery is ever injured, Gibbs is the 101 in fantasy. Like it's not even close. Which
we've already seen
at the end of last year. At the end of last year, he was absolutely insane when Montgomery went down. At the very end of last year, he starts playing an insane amount of the snaps. He's going for like 25, 26, 46 points. Very good pick. He's young. He's got this year, he's got one more year on his rookie deal, but then they have the 5th-year option.
Yeah, so they're going to use that, obviously.
Same as Bijan, 2 more years left, cost-controlled, and then they're both going to get the bag. There's no reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
My next guy that I'm going to take here, this is really tough. I'm going to go with Puka Nacua. Puka was being drafted around this spot last year. Obviously, he comes out the gates incredibly hot at the beginning of this season. Putting up, I went ahead and grabbed a sample of his entire rookie year. Last season, he was injured at the very beginning. So when he came back weeks 10 to 17, and then his full games played this year, 20.5 points. Almost 100 receiving yards a game. It's a joke.
Just a monster.
Absolute monster. Doing this with Devontae Adams being there as well. Obviously, the Rams are going insane. Matthew Stafford is throwing an insane amount of touchdowns. And Puka honestly hasn't received a huge amount of them, if I'm remembering. I mean, he has 4 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah.
For a guy for Matthew Stafford, who is like on pace to throw like 45, that's not a lot. Obviously, they're looking to Devontae a lot in the end zone. And they're using 4 tight ends, which is just... like, get T-Ferg out there 80% of the snaps, man. Come on. My only concern with Puka is this is what I was talking about with the quarterback worries. Matthew Stafford has had back issues since he was 7 years old and could retire literally at any moment. Imagine Matt Stafford wins the MVP, which is very realistic. The Rams win the Super Bowl. Is that not the perfect way to go out, given all the health issues that he's had? Is there a better way to go out? Do I think it happens? No. Is there a chance? Yes. And that kind of terrifies me. And I do think that Sean McVay would figure it out, and Puka is good enough that he would still be a wide receiver 1, even if they have to get a rookie quarterback or whatever it is. But there's just that wrinkle of worry that you don't have with a Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And Stafford has made it known that he only wants to sign 1-year deals so he can leave on his terms when he wants to.
Yeah.
So,
and he has that right.
every single year you're gonna be stressing out like, is this the year?
Yeah.
Is this the year? I think he's playing so good right now that I could see him going another 3 to 4 years, but also wouldn't surprise me if he just hangs it up. So,
dude, 3 months ago, they had that RV parked outside the practice facility, the cryo chamber for him to go into. He got an epidural in August. Like, it's not just like an old quarterback. It's an old quarterback with back issues every season. And so there's a tiny bit of worry there. Obviously not enough worry for me not to take him at the 110 here.
And also that worry is baked into Puka's value, because if Puka was tied to a elite quarterback, then he would be possibly overtaking Chase.
If they were
he's just that good.
If he was on the, I don't know, if he was on the Patriots, I would take him ahead of Jamar Chase.
Absolutely.
Right? So
he's wide receiver 2 currently in points per game at 22.6, and he has 4 touchdowns.
And despite being
that's like his floor is like 22 points per game.
And
because there's so much higher touchdown potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And despite the fact that he was like a lowly drafted rookie, and a lot of those guys are often older, he's in his 3rd year and he's 24 and a half.
Yeah.
He's not. Like, he's got so much runway left. 111. Where are you going?
111. This is such a weird position where I'm
This
going
is
to be advocating for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would take Joe Burrow so I can be like, but wait a second. But at this price, like he's 28 years old, obviously tied to a receiver like Jamar Chase, tied to a horrendous defense, which is what we love for our quarterbacks. And my biggest beef with Burrow is that I don't believe he has QB1 overall potential
Because there's no rushing.
because there's no rushing floor and there's never been a quarterback, at least in the last like 6 years of data that I went through, has never done it without that rushing upside.
Yeah.
And even his insane year where he went off, he finished as QB4. You need that rushing upside to be able to break into that top 3, top 2, number 1 overall quarterback range. And if I'm spending a first on a quarterback, I want them to be able to be the top of their position. So this one was tough for me because I don't believe he has QB1 overall potential or talent. He's obviously incredibly talented and good, but for fantasy, I don't think he can be QB1 overall. But at the 111, I feel like that's a fine price for getting a top 6 fairly consistent quarterback.
I mean, yeah, last year he throws for just a hair under 5,000 yards and 43 touchdowns, and he wasn't the quarterback one. So does that mean it's bad? No, obviously not. But like you said, we are shooting for quarterback 1, a guy that will completely win you a league. But yeah, here at the back end of the first round, it's a perfectly fine pick. I figured you'd be more concerned about the injury history. It seems to be red light, green light with Joe Burrow, where every other year he misses a bunch of time.
That just means you have a great selling window next year.
This is true. Yeah.
Win your ship with him next year, sell him in the offseason because he's about to be on his bad year after that.
I'm going to set a reminder on my phone for January 2027 to sell Joe Burrow.
Sell Burrow because it's going to be his down year. He's alternating.
But yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, he's lost a little bit of value here. I think that's mainly just other guys climbing up rather than us being lower on Burrow. At the 112, this is going to be the first potentially shocking one. This is a big mover for me.
I'm so curious if it's the same name I've got because I would almost bet money it is.
This is a guy that was like, if I'm remembering correctly, an early third round pick this past offseason. It's Devon Achane.
Oh, that's so spicy. It's not who I have.
Okay. So Devon Achane is having an absolute insane year. But it's not just this year. So here's what we're looking at. Bijan Robinson in 2024 and 2025 combined 19.6 points per game in PPR. Jahmyr Gibbs in that same time. And I've taken into account like if they've missed a game, whatever, these guys haven't. 20 PPR points per game for Gibbs. Achane in games last season where Tua was healthy, plus all of 2025, 22 PPR points per game. The guy is a wide receiver 1. He is a PPR machine, and he's averaging more points per game over the past 2 seasons than the 2 running backs that we have just taken ahead of him. He had an injury I've been concerned about his size. He was hurt in his rookie year, hasn't been hurt since. Plays all the games. It looks like McDaniel is sticking around. I don't know why.
How? Why?
I don't understand why, genuinely, but they just beat the Bills, which that obviously got a fire up ownership.
Mind-boggling.
Not only is it a win, it's a win against the juggernaut of your division, or before this year with the Patriots. I wouldn't dare. I'm sorry. I take it back.
Excuse me? I don't remember losing to the Dolphins.
But yeah, against the Bills, who have dominated you over the past 6 years. I think they were like 12-1 over the past 13 games before this one. And to do that at home, like, I think that why wouldn't the Dolphins fire McDaniel when they fired the GM to then give him the rest of the season when he's been there for so long? It's not like he's a first-year head coach. I don't know. They seem to be happy with McDaniel. I don't think that...
Beating the Bills helps a lot.
It does help a lot. And Tua we talk about quarterback situations. I think for Achane, it matters a lot more than it does for a Bijan or a Gibbs, just because because he catches the ball so much. I don't think you can downgrade from Tua, at least not by that much. Like, if there's a rookie in this offense, are we seriously going to think that it's going to be worse than Tua? Because I won't. So Achane doing this over the past 2 years, he's shown me all he needs to show me that I believe he should be a first-round startup pick this coming offseason.
Yeah, he's so good. He's got RB1 overall potential. It's what we're looking for. I love his long-term upside because he is one of those games where it's just going to be nice. Like, he's used as a slot receiver a lot of times. He's used in motion. I think he's going to be good into his 30, 31, 32, kind of like we see Kamara. Outside of Bijan and Gibbs, Achane is the next best thing to kind of rival that Kamara fantasy workload.
When you were talking about it, I was literally like, this sounds like Achane as much as it does Bijan. Genuinely, as much as it sounds like Bijan,
he fits the profile.
It sounds like Achane. He absolutely does.
His floor is so steady. I think he's really unfazed by whatever quarterback that rolls out there. Because, I mean, in his rookie season, McDaniel pivoted their offense to revolving around him.
And that was when Raheem Mostert scored like 22 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Achane was still incredible. I remember that offseason. The offense after the offseason after that year, there was all this talk. This isn't sustainable. I think he was at like 7 yards a carry or something stupid. He had 100 attempts.
That was nuts.
100 attempts, 800 yards, 7.77 yards per carry. Just insane. Last year, he has 600 receiving yards. This year, he already has 50 catches. So, Achane is just, what a guy. He's also carrying the shit out of my squad in the Flock League. To the point where I bought an Achane jersey this week.
Let's go.
Yeah, so that should be coming in. That'll be fun. But yeah, I love this guy. Devon Achane is awesome.
With the
201.
201?
We're into the second round.
This is the guy I thought you were going to go with. And when I originally ranked this guy, I had him at the 207.
Do we want to really quick? I'm going to recap the first round for anyone on audio only. 101 Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Lamar Jackson, Bijan Robinson at 105, Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, and to round it out, 110 we have Puka Nacua, Joe Burrow, and Devon Achane. Tags has 201.
So this guy, I had him ranked at 207 originally, and then I looked at the board and I'm just like, I would take him over this guy. Moved him up to 205, and then I looked at the board again. It's like, I'd take him over those guys. He's way younger. He's outproducing him. Moved him on up again, and eventually settled on the 201. Actually, I had him as my 112.
Yeah.
But at the 201, I'm taking JSN.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I had Justin Jefferson over him, Neighbors over him, CeeDee Lamb over him, Amon-Ra St. Brown over him. And I'm just like looking at that. I'm just like, that's just wrong. He's 23 years old. He's outproducing all of them. He's got Darnold as his quarterback. Terrible offensive line there. And he's torching every single team he goes against. They know he's getting the ball. They're game planning around him. They're bracketing him. They're shifting their coverage to his side, and he cannot be stopped. So the more I looked at it, I'm like, I can't have him lower than Jefferson. I can't have him lower than CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Neighbors, who's dealing with ACL tear. And he was the biggest riser that I took note of on the board because, like, he was probably going fourth round.
I think. Yeah.
He had a breakout last year, but who knows? Like, only one season under his belt if it was like a real breakout or not.
Yeah.
And man, he's just so good. He's so young still. He's just an alpha, and it doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball there. Darnold's probably going to get an extended. I think he's signed for 2 years. He's going to be taking a second year. If not, he might get a contract extension because of how good he's been playing. And he's got it. He's got to be up there because I looked at it and I can't justify putting JJ or Neighbors or CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra, anyone higher than him when he's younger and outproducing him.
Yeah, on the Darnold thing, so he signed a 3-year deal, but it was basically a glorified 1-year deal. People were really confused
That's
about this
what I
contract
thought, yeah.
because the Seahawks basically have an out after the season, but they're not going to take it because he's playing better than he did last year on the Vikings. And he will be on this team going forward because not only is he playing better than he did last year, the Seahawks do not have another option. Like, the reason that Darnold didn't re-sign with the Vikings is because they just drafted J.J. McCarthy. The Jalen Milroe is not J.J. McCarthy. So there is no reason why Darnold will go to free agency here, or why they would cut him.
Now he has Shaheed to take the top off the defense and push the safeties back.
JSN is
that Shaheed trade I loved for JSN.
Yeah, JSN is clearly moving into gonna be in the conversation for a wide receiver 1 every season going forward, and he's the youngest guy we've drafted so far. He's 23.7. He's younger than Puka. He's younger than Chase. And here's the other thing: we're gonna get to all those other guys you mentioned: Amon-Ra, CeeDee, Jefferson. What do we talk about with wide receivers all the time? The magic number where the value starts to fall is 27. And all of those guys are creeping up on 27, and they're going to be there very soon. And so while we love points, Dynasty is also a market. And I'm not sure I want to take a guy at the 201 who, in 365 days, is going to drop like a rock. Just like we saw A.J. Brown do, just like we saw all these other guys do.
When you take a Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb there, you're also locked into a win now build very early.
Yeah.
And I value the flexibility of JSN, where you can get the same production as those guys, but you have 3-4 extra years of youth on them. So it doesn't lock you into one side or the other. You can be way more flexible with your startup build if you go JSN rather than going CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Going over to the 202. I'm going to take a guy who was being taken here last year, if not earlier. I think he crept up to the wide receiver 2 last offseason, and an ACL injury has brought him down. But I'm going to take Malik Neighbors here at the 202. Malik Neighbors is 22 and a half years old, and the ACL is obviously scary. One thing about a Malik Neighbors build, and we can talk about this in the offseason as well, you are committing yourself a little bit to not being able to fully go for it in year 1 of your startup. Just because there is that concern that he comes back slowly. There's always a ramp-up period with these things. A lot of times, it's worse for running backs than it is for receivers, but the year after the year is always the thing that gets talked about. But with Malik Neighbors, there's a lot of things that I'm excited about. Brian Daboll obviously just got fired, but it seems like they have their quarterback. And Jackson Dart is going to be a New York Giant for a while here. Malik Neighbors will as well, and I think that those two will be a very nice combo for years to come. And Malik Neighbors, we just saw how insanely talented he is last season, an elite target earner. Last season alone, 170 targets. I think that's second to only Jamar Chase. Finished as the wide receiver 6 with awful quarterback play. What a combination of Tommy DeVito and who else played for them? Daniel Jones, and there was one other guy, Drew Lock, whatever. But just you're muted. Who'd you say?
Said, why am I blanking?
I don't know. Tommy Cutlets, Daniel Jones, and there was one other one who was also awful. But besides the point, Malik Neighbors, I think, is still worthy of this early second-round pick and can be an absolute cornerstone on a dynasty roster.
Yeah, super young, 22 years old. He's just such a fun player, and he's fun to have on your team. My concerns with him is the injury, obviously. Yeah. That's the only really concern with him, but it is a concern because he's 22 years old, but by the time he fully recovers from the ACL injury, he's going to be 24. And that's like a huge chunk of his career, because like we'll probably see him next season, but there's always a ramp-up period with these ACL injuries to wide receivers. And I don't think you're going to see full production, full volume from him even next year. So I think you're looking at like 2 years to kind of just punt and hope he comes back strong the next year. So we'll see. I think he's still going to be useful. He's still going to be valuable. But I don't think he's going to be an elite wide receiver over one overall potential by next year.
Yeah, 2026, you're probably not expecting that ceiling, but I don't think it's off the table with just how much that science has progressed and all this stuff. He was injured in week 4. Normally, it's like I think people say it's something around 10 months. Is normally what they say back to like hopefully being 100%. So that should put him right before the season starts. And I think it was early enough in the year that
which is pretty big for him.
I think I feel a little better than you do about his 2026 prospects. And that's why I take him at the 202 here. But who do you have at the 203?
I've got Justin Jefferson. The fall has to stop eventually for one of the greatest wide receivers of our time. He's 26 years old still. He has the game to be able to last 33, 34.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be Devontae Adams, where he's productive into his 30s. He's just really good. The main concerns is J.J. McCarthy being able to feed that many mouths and the Vikings, because we've seen games where J.J. just kind of disappears, and it might be an Addison game or a Hawkinson game. And I would like to see more volume his way, but he's just such a good receiver. I imagine they figure it out.
Yeah, you have to hope that they do. I trust Kevin O'Connell, and if JJ McCarthy can't make Justin Jefferson look good, then he's not the guy. So you would expect that they figure that out pretty quick. Yeah, my worry with Justin Jefferson is twofold. It's JJ McCarthy, the fact that they invested a lot into him and that they will try to make this work for a while, even if it's not working. And the fact that he's 26.4. And like we said, once they hit 27, it starts to fall.
It's off the cliff.
It starts to fall. Even if it shouldn't. Like with Devontae Adams, like you said, he is still producing as a wide receiver 1 this year, and he's 32. So you shouldn't
all the bag holders on Devontae Adams have been waiting for 3 years with that bag.
Yeah, exactly. And Justin Jefferson could be similar, where he's more valuable on your team than in a trade, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I think the market would indicate that he would fall, and he won't. If he's getting taken at the 203 right now, what I'll say is that he will never be a first round pick again.
I agree with that.
Right? So,
I mean, how often do we see receivers that get older hit the 27-year-old mark and then gain value?
Never. But if he's on your team, he's going to score points, and you'll be happy with that.
And you don't like drafting players at their peak value. Ideally, you're trying to draft them where you can see an avenue where they're going to be gaining value from where you get them. So this next, I'm sure the tier that we're going to get into soon, with JJ, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're all kind of the same to me, because they're elite guys. I completely agree. Yeah. But they're elite guys that are never going to gain value from this point on.
Yeah, back to back.
You're just locked into a win now situation if you draft them.
Yeah.
And that's usually not how I like to plan my startups, because it just takes away all flexibility with being able to play the draft board.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I have to, unfortunately, do the thing that I've been dreading since my rankings were solidified and since I talked to Tags before the show. I knew for a fact that I would be taking this player because I do have him ranked quite high. And here, we are open to learn. I do not consider myself an expert whatsoever at this. And I will be wrong all the time. And I would like Tags to tell me that I'm wrong if he thinks that I'm wrong here. But at the 204, I'm going to take Jackson Dart. And this is what I see with Jackson Dart. I see a quarterback who, so far in his career when he started, has averaged 23 points per game. He's averaged 8 rush attempts per game for 45 yards, and he's rushing for a touchdown in every start. Now, there's an injury risk, there's a Bo Nix risk, and when we talked about at the top about CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, Bo Nix, the rookie quarterback, if he can't keep it up in terms of the rushing or the production, with CJ Stroud, I mean, everybody was telling you to sell him at the 103 value. But with Bo Nix, people love the rushing. The Broncos offense was looking good, all this kind of stuff. If Jackson Dart could be that player too. Luckily, this isn't a real startup and we're just having fun, so we can talk about it. But to be averaging 23 points per game through the first, 7 starts of his career is pretty remarkable. And I just think this is where he's valued. He's 22 and a half years old. He has the rushing floor, just like we like. He has an elite weapon in Malik Neighbors. They have a good running back in Cam Scadaboo. They're going to get a new head coach. I think that he has the size to run the ball and to get the rushing touchdowns. I think Jackson Dart has quarterback 1 overall potential. And
he's shown it against good defenses too.
Yeah.
Like his very first game against the Chargers, 22 points. Philadelphia, 26 points. Denver, the elite of the elite defenses right now, 39 points. Philly again, 21 points. 49ers, 31. So he seems matchup proof, even though he has no weapons right now. He's got Wan'Dale Robinson as his volume hog.
Like we just talked about Malik Neighbors being hurt. He's throwing to Wan'Dale and Darius Slayton and freaking Bo Collins and
balling out. Yeah.
Ray McLeod. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, balling out. So I love it because he has the most potential to rise into that first round draft pick. Main concern is obviously Daboll being out. Who's the next head coach going in there? But the Giants know our identity is Dart.
They have the guy.
So they're going to get a guy that best allows Dart to succeed.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. Hopefully they'll bring in some more weapons for him. But he's already so good and matchup proof. Like, I'm not scared starting him against Philly. Not scared against Chargers. Broncos, nobody. So the floor of rushing, he's got a 700 plus rushing yard floor potentially. And that's just invaluable in fantasy football. He's almost a guaranteed quarterback 1 when you have those numbers.
I'm so glad you are with me here.
I love it, obviously. My next pick, which is the 205, is I'm going Mahomes.
Okay.
And he's currently the QB2.
This is a very
overall.
interesting conversation.
And a guy who has QB1 overall potential, which really means that I probably should have taken him instead of Burrow, thinking back on it. Because he's almost same age. He's 29. He's got the weapons in place for him to run the offense that they want to with Rice, Worthy, Kelsey. And we had this discussion a few weeks ago where we were talking about their running game. I don't think they want to be a running team. They have the defense now, and I think they want to be a passing team. Mahomes is their best weapon on offense. And I think now that he has the weapons in place too, he's able to run that offense the way they want. And he's QB2 now. So I'm going back with Mahomes. He's guaranteed 3-4 plus years of production as a QB1. And at the 205, he's just such a safe pick.
Here's the thing. I am perfectly fine with the pick. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that he has obviously been very, very good this year. The 2 years previous where he's below 18 points per game, both of them, it's obviously going to scare some people, as I think that it probably should. Here's the thing. Great coaches are always thinking ahead, right? They're always trying to modernize the offense. Andy Reid for 2 years was like, we're going to run the ball and we're going to live and die by that. And we're not going to make Mahomes throw. I mean, he's still throwing 37 and 36 times a game in those years, but with Mahomes, his lowest value was like the end of the second round, right? I don't think he's ever going to fall below that.
Yeah.
So it's a safe pick, and you're right. He probably does have quarterback one overall upside like he's showing this year. So I am perfectly fine with the pick. I have no issues. All right, with the 206 here, I am going to go with another quarterback. And this is a guy who was drafted maybe a little later than this past offseason, maybe around half a round. I'm going to take Caleb Williams.
Oh.
A little spicy maybe, but Caleb Williams has been really, really good this year. He's averaging over 20 points per game in 2025. They have all of the weapons in the entire world on offense. Ben Johnson is calling the plays very well. He's also quietly averaging about 30 rushing yards a game. That puts him at a nice clip for the year, right? He's currently ran for, last year 500 yards almost. This year he's at 246 so far. So in a good offense with lots of weapons, very young, obviously an incredible prospect. Taking him here at the 206 makes a lot of sense for me.
He is not in my top 24, so that's where we differ.
Okay.
But there was a lot of players at the 24 spot where I could justify 4 or 5 different players being in that back end of the second.
Yeah.
So I think he's in a big tier that kind of include a lot of different players, but he is not in my top 24. So a little bit of different there.
I think it'll get quite subjective here at the end of the second.
Yes, 100%. And with that, I'll have the 207, and I am taking CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Still 26 years old. Again, same with the rest of them, kind of locks you into a win now team build, which I don't exactly like. But if I've got CeeDee Lamb as my mid-second pick, I like it a lot better. And the defense could be bad for a while. So I think he's tied to Dak, and they're going to air it out there in the Cowboys for a while. And I think he's going to be wide receiver 1 until he decides not to be. So.
Yeah, it's similar to Justin Jefferson, right? Where we're worried about that age cliff and the value. But if these guys are going to be on your roster, you've got 3 more years of wide receiver 1 numbers, or at least a projection
100%.
For that. And we're kind of motoring through this end of the second round here because I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's going to be a very similar story, right? He is 26. He's barely younger than CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, but he's a tiny bit younger. And he has been a wide receiver 1 every year since he broke out. 7 in 2022, then 3, and right now he's the wide receiver 3 in PPR. The epitome of consistency is what Amon-Ra St. Brown is, and his game will age very well, I feel.
Yes.
And
I think there's no threat of other weapons because they've brought in so many different weapons in that offense, and Amon-Ra's just going to get his. So I love that pick.
Absolutely.
At the 208, I am taking
209.
209. I am taking Trey McBride. Same thing. Love a pick here that gives you a positional advantage. It's kind of him and Bowers alone in the top tier. And there's a few tight ends that are very close, but I think McBride's just so good. He's going to get the volume. And we could see him even upgrade from that, depending on what their quarterback situation is going to be next year. Well, it's not going to be Kyler.
Dude, the difference in points is insane. All of last year...
there's a huge teardrop.
But I mean for Trey McBride specifically. All of last year, plus the first 5 weeks of this season, which Kyler Murray was starting, Trey McBride, 14.6 points per game. That's not tight end premium, that's just PPR. Okay?
Yeah.
The 4 weeks he's played with Jacoby Brissett, 23.7 points per game. It's insane.
And we've seen every single weapon there in the passing game get elevated with Jacoby Brissett.
Well, it's like, why wouldn't you throw to the 6'4", 250-pound tight end in the end zone? Kyler Murray just didn't do it. So we'll see how that progresses. I think this is a fine pick, even if it's Kyler, but the fact that there's the upside for a better quarterback.
Yeah, he's currently tight end 1 in points per game right now at 20.9.
Yeah.
Next closest is Ferguson at 17.4.
Yeah.
That's a 2.5 point jump. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, got McBride at 209.
I do think Tyler Warren is creeping into this tier as well. He just needs to. I think we need some more boom games.
Sidebar: do you have Tyler Warren in your top 24?
I do not.
Because he is the very next pick, and I struggled pretty hard between McBride and Warren there.
Okay,
but I chose McBride because he's got the production.
So currently. It sounds like you're about to take him at the 211.
Spoiler alert.
So at the 210, I will squeeze in maybe my favorite player in fantasy football, Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice has moved into this tier. He is in the tier. I talked about this on, I think it was the Keep Trade Cut episode we did. I don't know if that was last week or what, but he's in the tier with Amon-Ra and CeeDee Lamb. He's younger than them, barely. He's 25.6, but he's putting up wide receiver 1 numbers for fun, and he should continue to do so. In a very high-powered offense with the best quarterback in the league, or a top 3 quarterback in the league. And he's a little further from the age cliff. I don't think he's as talented as Amon-Ra St. Brown or CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson, but this offense just uses him like an absolute workhorse at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
An extension of the run game, all that kind of stuff.
Just wait till Kelsey retires this year, too.
Yeah.
Then it's like he's going to get even more volume.
Absolutely.
My next pick at 211 is Tyler Warren. Spoiler alert. 23 years old. He's the clear focal point of that offense. He even has a built-in floor that most tight ends don't have by the fact that they use him in the red zone for rushing. They've been putting him in at running back at the goal line.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
We could be seeing like a rushing touchdown upside to go along with his usage. So he's got tight end 1 overall potential. He's young. He's still getting worked in that offense, and I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I really, really like it. I think he just has so much youth with the tight end position. I mean, you took Bowers at the 107 for a reason, right? Like, these guys are going to have so long doing this, and Tyler Warren is the prototypical guy that you'd want to have at that position. Okay.
Final pick.
The 212. There are a lot of names here.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant of our top 24
top
Dynasty
24.
startup. I'm going to name a bunch of guys who I'm not going to pick. Emeka Egbuka is up for this pick. Ashton Genty is up for this pick. Justin Herbert, who I have hated on a little bit, but is the quarterback 5 in points per game, is up for this pick. Drake London is up for this pick. There are a lot of guys that we could talk about here. Jonathan Taylor, Keep Trade Cut loves Jonathan Taylor. I worry about an almost 27-year-old running back being in the top 2 rounds of a startup. So I'm going to take a 22.6-year-old running back, and I'm going to take Amarian Hampton. Amarian Hampton in a offense which I believe that when they are able to, this offense will be built around the run. Right now they're dealing with Kamani Vidal and Jarrett Patterson and 2 backup tackles. And this is another reason why I've been low on Justin Herbert, and it's because I think that this offense wants to run the ball, and I think Amarian Hampton has the prototypical size to be a workhorse. He has the receiving capabilities coming out of college, and he is just incredibly talented. And we saw that in the few games that he was able to play fully healthy this season. Really 2 games where he showed off what he could do, and then he gets hurt, which is so unfortunate. We should see him after the bye week here, and I think that after we see him in those games heading into the playoffs, that he will solidify himself as a second-round startup pick.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he looks like the rest of the year. I wish he could have played before all their offensive tackles got injured again.
Exactly, because, you're not getting either of those back even when he comes back.
Yeah. But that's a interesting last pick because he's not in my top 24. The honorable mentions for me, I had Herbert was my 208. Still only 27 years old, averaging 26 points per game this year. in an offensive team with Ladd, Gadsden, QJ, Keenan, who are all just kind of blowing up right now.
Yeah.
And to me personally, I'm not too worried about them becoming a run-first offense. I think even if they do, I think Herbert's going to be productive. And Hampton's really solid in the pass-catching game. We saw him have 8 receptions one of the games before he went out. So I think he's going to be a good passing game weapon when he gets back as well. I had Egbuka at 209. He's just been dominant the very first game he stepped on the field here. And then I had Drake London at 212.
Yeah.
So Rashee Rice was off my top 24. Hampton was off my top 24.
Yeah, those guys are all really close.
Same with Caleb. I think I just prefer Herbert over Caleb.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is close. I don't know. I'll have to look into that one because Herbert is rushing the ball quite a bit. So maybe I'm too high on Caleb if I view Herbert as low as I do.
There's just so many players in that range where it's like, I was struggling figuring out who to kind of leave off. Bo Nix was really close.
Yeah.
And there's like Marvin Harrison Jr. was close for me. I'm still a little bit higher up on him.
There's a lot of guys.
A lot of guys that could kind of move. We could see a lot of movement in that back end of the second.
It's the wild, wild west, and this got me really excited for the off season when these values aren't going to be fluctuating as much, and we can really dig into talking about.
I can't add any more leagues, but I know this makes me want to add some more.
Yeah,
I'm cutting myself off, Sammy.
You have to cut it off at some point, right?
I was only going to add 2 more leagues this offseason, and I added 5, I believe.
Oops.
So
that's how that goes, right? I'll recap the second round really quickly here. So we had JSN at 201, Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, then a run of quarterbacks, Jackson Dart, Patrick Mahomes, and Caleb Williams. At the 207, CeeDee Lamb, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown and Trey McBride. And to round it out, 210, we had Rashee Rice, followed by Tyler Warren and Omarion Hampton at the 212. So that is our top 24, our first 2 rounds of a startup here in week 11. Let us know in the comments what we got egregiously wrong. Let us know who is too high, who is too low, who should be in here that we didn't talk about. As always, we don't know what we're doing next week, so you'll find out when we do. But tune in, all right? Hit the subscribe, and let us know what kind of content you want to hear. We want to provide the conversations that are potentially missing from the Dynasty space, and whatever you guys think that is, we want to hear from you. So like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tags, any last words for the people?
Go Pats.
All right. See ya.
Later.